So it's 6 o'clock, we can start. So I hope I am audible. Can someone confirm that I am audible? Okay. Okay. So this is a live interactive session that will be taken by me. I am Suman Ganguly, a research scholar at IIT Kharagpur. So the objective of this conducting of this session is to resolve any kinds of doubt that you have, right, regarding the course content. Like already your week 1 is live for this traffic engineering course. So directly you can ask if you have some queries, or we shall actually discuss the topics that has been covered, and then maybe I have some theoretical as well as numerical problems that we will solve together. So as it is a interactive session, so I would encourage you that you all actually can participate in answering, and if something is stuck, then maybe I will actually with you we can solve it together, right? So another thing is this is the first week course. So as you know, if you have already went through the content, you already have known that it is just a basic recap of traffic engineering. So we do not have much numerical problems here. So it will be mostly theoretical ones, right? So I will first maybe I will start with the whatever the topic that has been already covered in this week, and then we shall go to this question. 8 or 9 questions are there. So maybe first I will give you the opportunity to answer in the chat box. You may answer like A, B, or whatever the options are there, and also sometimes I may ask that please tell me that why do you think that it is so. So maybe accordingly you can answer also, right? So let's start then. So this is, as I already mentioned, it is about the basics of traffic engineering, right? So what already has been covered, these are the topics that I have mentioned here, right? So let's use a pen. So first we start with the traffic engineering. So maybe okay. So I will start that what is traffic engineering. So basically traffic engineering, I have mentioned that there is a term that is called multimodal, and there is a term it is called heterogeneity in traffic stream. So these are not new. This is already included in your PPTs as well. So maybe if someone wants to say that why multimodal term in traffic engineering, because as you already know, the traffic engineering talks about safe and efficient movement of people, right, from one place to another place. That is what the principle of traffic engineering means. So now why this multimodal term that is coming into picture? So because if you see basically traffic engineering is generally means it was like if you see the Western world, it is mostly the motorways, right? So then why it is currently, why it is getting complicated on, and why the multimodal terms comes into picture? Can anyone, you can unmute yourself and can describe that why traffic engineering also deals with multimodality, and why in Indian context why heterogeneity in traffic stream? This also this heterogeneity, what do you mean by heterogeneity, and why it is different than maybe countries like developed countries, right? So India, why and how it is different? So if anyone can unmute yourself and wants to say something, he can say, right? So like I want to make it a very interactive one because it is an interactive session. So if already you have went through the lecture, so there is no point if I am saying everything, right? So maybe you can try that why is this multimodal term we are saying. So as you know from the term itself that multimodal means it is not a single mode but the consist of different modes. So it is not only in India we already seen on the roads that it is not only two-wheelers but the motorcycles and also the cars, the trucks, everything is plying on the roads. Even in the urban road, if you see the rural road, also the same or almost the same. Now that is what called is multimodal. Now what is called the heterogeneity in traffic stream. So this heterogeneity refers to that each vehicle characteristics are different, right? So suppose we have a motorized vehicle and a non-motorized vehicle as well. So both are plying on the roads. So what is non-motorized? Non-motorized means cycle, your bicycles, your cycle rickshaws, those things. So now their physical characteristics like length and width and as well as the operating characteristics like the acceleration. So if you see a car, the speed of a car and speed of a bicycle is not similar. It's largely varying, right? So there is a large deviation. So that's why the traffic in this Indian subcontinent it's called the heterogeneous traffic stream. It's not a homogeneous like in the western world. If you see the motor car is designed for the motors, written for the cars, so they will ply on the roads, right? And there are some kind of mixed traffic as well. So mixed traffic and heterogeneous traffic are different. So mixed traffic means there are modes but it is not consist of non-motorized mode. It will be consist of mostly motorized modes, maybe car, maybe with car it may be bus or maybe some trucks also sometimes. So that is called mixed traffic. So here heterogeneity means it will also consider the non-motorized modes as well, right? So then professor talks about the objective. So there are two objectives. First is the primary objective is to provide a safer transportation. As you know, traffic engineering is not about moving people from one place to another, but it is moving people safely and efficiently from one place to another. It is in the definition itself, it is there. So now this safety, because there are mostly in India, I think it is ranked at least top 3. If you see the top 3 countries, so you will find that India will be there, positioning there. So safety is at most important. So how do you make your transportation system safe as well as efficient? So here efficient means efficient in terms of maybe comfort, maybe convenience, maybe speed, right? So you want to travel, so you want to travel faster, right? In less time. So that is called the efficiency in traffic engineering. So whatever the mode may be, because whether if you say car, so crowding may not become, but in case of maybe public transport, the crowding may come, right? Also the convenience and other things that already been discussed here. So third is what is the relationship with the transportation system and land use. So basically your land use directly impact your transportation systems, right? So if you improve your transportation network and if you improve your transportation network at a particular location, so it will be accessible to many people, much more people. So it will induce new traffic there. So as as traffic gets induced there, so the land will be more accessible, and as the land will be more accessible, what will happen that your need for better transport will be much higher. So it's a cyclic nature. So because of this, if you see, generally we want to build flyover to avoid congestion on the roads, right? Generally we build flyovers. So if you see, sometimes even after you build a flyover, this congestion problem is not solved. It is solved at a particular location because there I provided a flyover, but this congestion point shifted from A point to B. So that's why generally in traffic engineering we do not want always that flyover should be like if you see in any politician, they will say that no, we just build a flyover because there is a congestion. So it is not a solution always because it's a cyclic nature. It will induce more traffic. So if your road is good, then the people will change their path, right? So this is called the cyclic nature of land use and transportation systems. So then actually it talks about the mobility and accessibility. So if you see our overall transportation systems, the objective of the overall transportation system is to provide mobility as well as accessibility. So basically through road you want to go from point A to point B, like, so at a reasonable time obviously. So that is called your mobility. So I want to move basically. So then the accessibility, suppose you have a parcel of land, or suppose maybe you have a bus stop that is not accessible, right? Because like the side by road, or whenever you are wherever you are staying, that is not at a, maybe the roads are bad there, right? So it is not directly accessible to this bus stop. So maybe how do you access that bus stop? And once you access the bus stop, then only you can ride the bus, right? So accessibility is another thing that has to be that is the objective also the transportation systems. But rather if you see from traffic, already we mentioned the traffic talks about only the safer and efficiency. So transportation system is building to provide mobility and accessibility, and traffic will be doing that mobility only, but through safe and efficient movement of vehicles, right? And not only vehicles, actually it is not about the vehicles, because sometimes we see the vehicles are moving with no passengers at all. So that is not the objective of a transportation engineer. There should be people inside the vehicle. So there could be also some kind of freight transportation also is possible, right? Because they are also carrying goods. It is not vacant for no purpose. It is not like that. It has some purpose to fulfill. So now this is, so mobility and accessibility, right? So if you see there are modes. So if you compare how your modes are different. So suppose you have a car. So what is your mobility and accessibility? So car, you can travel faster. Suppose I am comparing car and bus, right? So in case of car, your mobility is higher. Obviously it's a personal vehicle, so your mobility will be higher than bus, because bus usually serve the passengers at bus stops. So your dwell time, they are consuming dwell time also, and also sometimes running time of car is faster than the bus, mostly. So then your mobility of car is greater than your mobility of a bus. So what about accessibility? So access means, do I have all the time access to my car? Generally yes, right? So generally I ride from home, then I go to work, and then I can come back. And for bus, maybe from home I need to take some kind of mode, or sometimes I can walk to the bus stop, then I can take the bus, and then I can leave for work. And then once I reach there, then maybe also there could be some kind of distance, or at least some walking distance will be there. So accessibility of and mobility both of a car is greater than the bus. Yes. So then what about your suppose flight, if you want to take flights, so what about that? Mobility is higher than car and bus, obviously mobility is greater, right? So what about accessibility? So do you can you access it all at all the times? Suppose if you compare a bus stop and a airport terminal, so which is more accessible? So bus stop is more accessible, right, rather than your airport terminal. So although mobility is higher, accessibility is less. So this kind of comparison you can see, whatever the mode is, you can think, and you will be able to think and do it. So now second is street. So suppose although I think in this module also we have covered these urban and rural road classifications, right? So suppose urban expressways and the local street. Local street means suppose your home is there and the nearby street is the local street, and you have an urban expressway, right? You can see the urban expressway in the metro cities as well nowadays. So then what about the mobility and accessibility? So mobility of which street is higher? So obviously vehicles will be moving at a greater speed through urban expressways, not your local street. It will be lesser there. So mobility is higher there. What about accessibility? But if you see, your accessibility will be higher at the residential street or local street, because you can access it at any time, that street, but you may not be even allowed to, suppose you want to you are going there using maybe two-wheeler, maybe sometimes it is also restricted, like you cannot ply there using the two-wheeler, right? So these kinds of comparison also you can do based on mobility and accessibility. So one thing also I can mention, that once your mobility is higher in case of streets, your accessibility will be lower, and it's a relationship. If you see also, I think it is in the slide, that as your mobility, if you see that this is your mobility and this is suppose your accessibility A. So as your mobility is higher of particular mode, suppose particular street is expressway here E, and maybe then something arterial road, sub-arterial road, and then here comes the local street. So local street is highly accessible, but your mobility is compromised there, right? So this is the concept of mobility as well as the accessibility. So then we talked about the traffic engineering elements. So what are the elements, or what are the things that you look for as a traffic engineer? So traffic engineering is what? Movement of people and goods from one point to another. So what are the things? So then you have to study the traffic characteristics. Characteristics means how many vehicles are flying, what is the delay, what is the average travel time. If you are suppose if you are traveling from point A to point B, what is the travel time, right? What is the delay, right? Delay means maybe peak hour you are facing congestion, that's why delay is occurring maybe. So those study and analyzing those factor is called the traffic characteristics. What is the characteristics of the traffic, what is the flow, what is the density, and those things, what is the speed, right? So then the performance evaluation. Suppose we are saying that the road is congested. Some road, okay, morning 9 to 11, the road is getting congested. But how to quantify it? How to know that how much congestion? Suppose there are two roads that is congested. Now I want to prioritize, as a traffic engineer, I want to prioritize a road, right? So I want to see that where the problem is more occurring, I want to focus on that. So how do you want to prioritize that thing? I want to quantify this thing. That is called the performance evaluation. So what is the performance, current performance operating as vehicle is moving, what is the performance of that particular road? So that is evaluated usually in terms of level of service. Like level of service A to A, there are 6 level of service. So level of service A means your service is very good, there are almost no vehicles, you are uninterruptedly you can move from a point A to B. So if you want, you can also cross the speed limit, but that should not be our goal. But at least if the speed limit is 100, you can nearer to that, maybe 90, 95, around that speed you can move actually at level of service A. And what is F? F means your level of service is already failed, that queuing is occurring, so you are stuck in the traffic. Like if you see, we always hear the news about the Bangalore, right? The Bangalore, there is a transition, there is a congestion, and long queuing is observed. So those you can think of the level of services, and the in between is B, C, D, E, and I should also mention the level of service E, because it is E, you can see it is near to capacity condition. What is the capacity of a road? Suppose a road is built to carry maximum of suppose 500 vehicles per hour, a particular road, right? So if I am reaching to that capacity, like maybe 470, 450, we can see that we are in the level of service E already. We are facing delay because it's almost a capacity condition, right? Almost our gap is very less. Then we will move to the level of service F. So in a nutshell, this is the performance evaluation. So now what about the facility design? So facility design means, what about your, suppose you are moving and you are seeing that the pavement surface is undulating, right? So what is that, what is the effect? The effect is that functional performance is low, that's why you are feeling your comfort level will go down. So if you compare two roads where along one road maybe you are moving comfortably, and another road you are just facing some kind of undulations and those things, so you are comfortable on the first option, right? So those kinds of things you can see. So it is not a facility design, means not the structural one. So we are not the structural engineer, so we are not focusing on the structural aspect, right? It is the functional and geometric also, you can say. So geometry means the what is the width, if your width is very less, so maybe your capacity is also low, so those things, right? So that is called the facility design. So then the traffic control, obviously you need to have some kind of traffic control. So it is doesn't always mean that signal control. So if you see along the highways, there are stop controlled intersections, right? So there are stop control means, generally if suppose there is a, this is the major highway, suppose this is a major highway that we are flying, and maybe there is a minor street which is crossing. So there could be sometimes here there will be a stop sign. Stop time means you have to mandatory stop here, any vehicles or any pedestrian crossing as well, they have to mandatory stop here and then they can pass comfortably, right? So this is called the stop control. It is another type of control. There is also another type of control, is there yield control. Yield control means you have to slow down, you have to not necessarily stop. Here if you have a yield control, then you have to slow down, just see that whether any vehicles are there. If not, then you can pass, but at least you have to slow down. You cannot just come and go through it, right? So those kind of traffic controls are basically mandatory at junctions. So you can see that okay, there are many junctions which are unsignalized. Okay, if the traffic volumes are low, if there are no traffic accidents is occurring, then maybe your you don't need to install a signal, or maybe sometimes you may not have to use also the stop or yield sign. But ideally those three kinds of signals are there. So what about the traffic operations? Suppose generally if you see in morning peak hours, we actually goes to work, from home to work, and if you see the other opposite direction, there would be less traffic during peak hours, and from home to work there will be more traffic, right? Directional traffic will be high because we are all going for work, but at the same time there are that there are not many people who are coming back from work to home, but that will be maybe that the situation will occur in the evening whenever we come back from home. But in the morning, one directional, or in the evening also in the opposite direction, traffic volume will be high. So suppose now you see the traffic volume is high, so you want to suppose there are 3 lanes, so maybe you want to devote that, okay, this direction in the morning, this direction maybe traffic will flow, right? And in the morning peak hour, this direction traffic will flow, and in the evening maybe you can just do the opposite, right? So kind of one way system, two way system, or which lane will be using for what purpose, right? So there are many instances where it will be two way, it will be using two lanes in the morning, and maybe they will use these two lanes for coming back as well, right? So how you manage the traffic operations, so it is called the operations. So now your transportation system management. So suppose you are riding a bus versus you are riding a car. So suppose there are 10 cars, and mostly suppose we are saying here those are the personal cars. So in Indian situation there is a one driver and one is the rider, right? So there are two people, so maybe 10 cars is carrying total 20 people, right? So how much does one bus is carrying? One bus is carrying much more people, right? Minimum 40. If we say the minibus, maybe 35, 40. Big buses 60 to 70 people as well, depending on the size of the bus, right? So that big JNURM buses, those typically carry I think 60. If we don't consider the standing, just the sitting things. So see, and as your number of vehicles on the roads is higher, then your traffic congestion also higher, because there are too many cars on the road. So if you replace those cars with a one bus carrying those same passengers, so there are many people who can accommodate in a car. So it is called the demand management, right? So it is just a example of how to optimize your capacity and demand. So it is called the transportation systems management. So how do you basically manage your transportation system, right? Obviously for better efficiency. So then integration of intelligent transportation systems. So nowadays if you see, there are many monitoring systems are basically developing. In India also there are many expressways and highways, there are ITS systems is developing for many purposes. So one of the example is, nowadays if you see, buses are already having the GPS pre-installed. In most of the at least metro cities they have the GPS. So what it allows us to see that how your operation is lagging, right? So suppose what is the day to day one bus is, what time is it is taking, right? So when the bus is taking more time, when it is taking less time, maybe is it following the proper route that has been allocated to it or not. Then there are many instances, even from the truck. If you see the truck point of view, this GPS installation is very effective, because generally truck drivers, they generally means there are many problems with your freight transport, which is basically truck drivers, they are maybe not reaching at time, and those things we can monitor and we can develop a system so that we can do that, right? Also there are many things like this first tag is coming up, and also they sometimes we can use the videography to capture the suppose the number plate of a vehicle, and then accordingly we can generate the challan and we can send it, right? And in case of pay, the one second, okay, in case of also there are many instances that we are using some kind of information technologies to enhance our transportation road network. In India also it is coming up, right? It is also catching up. So then the next part is the important part, which is called the traffic components, right? So in traffic engineering, who are the, or what are the components of a traffic system? So if you see, what is the traffic system? So safe and efficient movement of people from one place to another. So first component is obviously the people who are traveling. They're traveling by what? They're traveling by your vehicle, whatever the mode is. So basically one is vehicle, one is user or the people, right? So there are two things. An user could be anything, right? It may not be also vehicle, it may be pedestrian users also, because they are also using your road. So that is also traffic engineering, right? So then what about they are traveling on road? So roadway is another component, right? It is very easy to understand what component means. And then the control devices, as I have already mentioned, there could be some kind of control devices that has to be pre-installed at mostly junctions, and sometimes also if some situations are there, maybe that time we can install in the mid block, like suppose suppose we are seeing that accidents are occurring at a mid block, because frequently the people are crossing there. So maybe we want to install a pedestrian signal there, right? So maybe that is called the control devices, right? So then the environment also, suppose your traffic may influence with the environment. Suppose you already know that in case of winter there are fogs and there are many accidents are occurring due to the visibility problem, right? So it is a general environment only, but it is affecting our traffic operations, right? So it is also another component. It is not a primary component, but it is also nowadays included, right, as a component under the component. So now you see, what is the like, I am a traffic engineer, I am not so what is in my control and what is not in my control, that has to be also known. So suppose road users, so uh, can you control a road user, right? Because suppose you are a bike rider and you are an aggressive bike rider, you want to move faster, and I am is kind of uh, kind of I am thinking that no, I have to move in a safe manner. So I am not that kind of aggressiveness, I do not have. So there are multiple ranges of behavior that people are observing, and generally it is following a kind of normal distribution. If you know the normal distributions, right? So like this bell shaped curve, right? Normal distribution. So behavior is not equal for everyone. So and also that is not under my control. I will not be able to control it, right? Directly what is their behavior. So then the vehicle also is not under my super means traffic engineering not deals with the control of vehicles as well, because you might you can buy whatever is that's a policy decision, whatever what is allowed in the roads and what is not allowed. So it is not under the direct influence of a traffic engineer. But if you see the road OS are designing by the traffic engineer only, right? Maybe pavement people are building it, but whatever the side distance, so what should be the minimum distance that is available from a for a driver's perspective, what should be your length of a curve, right? Whenever you are traversing a road, what could be the grade, what could be the length, those things has to be decided. What is the length, width, those are decided by a traffic engineer. So you have direct influence of the how to means those things you can do it. So now the control devices I already mentioned, and also the general environment. So now under road users, so road users, there are some things that has to be known, right? So road users in case of vehicle, so suppose you are applying a vehicle, whatever the vehicle is, maybe motorcycle or whatever. So visual acuity, this is very important. So it is a measurement of how your eye is performing. It is a performance measure for a eye. It is like a kind of eye test, right? So what is visual acuity? Suppose it is generally means expressed like 6 by 6, 6 by 8, like that, right? So what is 6 by 6, 6 by 8? It is means, so suppose a driver is able to see a particular object, right, from a distance of 6 meters, suppose I am saying. So I am a driver, or I am seeing this sign, say traffic sign, from a distance of 6 meters. So now if it is a standard, if this is the standard, and if as a driver everyone is seeing this same signpost from a distance of 6 meter, so then we see that we have a sufficient performance of the eye, right? We are passing the eye test. So then what about this grade change 6 by 8 or 6 by 7 or 6 by something? Is it better, or is it represent some kind of poorer vision? So 6 by 8 means standard is that people should see it from the distance of 8 meter, right? 8 meter. This is the standard thing. So what about you are seeing it, you are seeing the same traffic signal, suppose this is a signal from a distance of 6 meter. So now is it like your performance is bad or good? What do you think? Your performance is bad, right? Because standard is you should see from a distance of 8 meter. So you are not able to see from a distance of 8 meter, so you have to come closer 2 meters forward, and then you are seeing from a distance of 6 meter, right? So it is called the visual acuity. So generally what tests are done is the static visual acuity test, but see there are dynamic visual acuity, because okay, someone started some sharing. Can you just stop sharing? Can you just stop sharing? Hello? Yes? Oh, actually they should be able to join, because there's a meet link, and it is only some just tell them to try, because I have no idea what I should do, because it's a meet link, so it should work. So they can try. I am accepting request. Maybe there are multiple requests, and sometimes I don't know. Maybe you can try them to join. Okay. Just can you just like you have already shared your screen, I think. Can you just stop sharing your screen? Okay. 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 One second, one second. Let me just share it, then maybe whatever your queries. Tell me, what is your query? Hello. Yes, बोलिए. Assignment link. Okay, maybe you have tried how many times? नो 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 नो, दैट इज ओके. मैं पूछ फर्स्ट सेशन में नहीं कर पाए. वाई? Okay, maybe what you can do. So, do you know that discussion forum exists, right? So maybe you can message your name and your maybe details, some details, maybe mail ID, and then maybe you can tell that what is the problem, right? So maybe then I will see that what can be done, right? Maybe after the today's session, maybe I will see. So just put a message to in the discussion forum. Okay. Okay. So okay, so we were discussing visual acuity. So in case of so whatever we are saying, it's a static visual acuity, right? So it's not a admit. So it's a static visual acuity. So now because we are so because whenever we are riding a vehicle, so it's a dynamic thing, right? So it's not a statical thing. It's not that I am able to see a see a object from a particular distance at a stationary mode. So it's a dynamic one. So which will be more complicated. So generally for the field purpose, or generally in the licensing, we generally followed this static test, right? Okay, just let me accept their request, because they were, I think, stuck. Okay. So yes, tell me, what is your query, Durgesh? Durgesh, tell me, what is your query? You have raised your hand, or is it by mistake or something? No. Okay. Okay, so then the second one is the field of vision of road users, right? So field of vision means, so suppose this is a particular driver, right? So one second. So this is a particular driver, and this is your field of vision, right? So you have one is called your acute vision, one is called your clear vision, right, fairly clear vision, and third one is your peripheral vision. So in case of your acute vision, why it is necessary? If someone is not muted, I would request that you should mute your microphone, right? So then what is your acute field of vision? Is that whenever you are traveling along a particular road, suppose there are road signs which are saying that you should reduce your speed limit. So now if I have to change my vision, and if it is not in not in my periphery, not within that acute vision, so I need to change my line of sight, which may be disastrous, right? Maybe for that reason maybe accident may occur, right? Based on if it is an suppose I am taking a turn and then those things are happening, right? So it may be a problematic situation. So that's why this for designing those road signs, it is mandatory to ideally do it in the acute conic vision range, and if it is not possible, then maybe one can do it using the like fairly conic vision range, right? So then in case of other thing is peripheral. So peripheral is like in the periphery, so it is the longest one, right? So maybe you cannot see whatever is written or what is the color, or nothing can be detected, but if some movements are happening, and suppose maybe you are negotiating a curve, a horizontal curve, and maybe just your based on your this peripheral vision, you just detect some object that maybe some child is playing and maybe something is there. So maybe you should accordingly, at least you can control. You don't know what is happening, but you know something is moving, so you can actually act, right? So the design of this road signs and all these things are very important, this visual acuity, because if I want to reduce my speed from 40 to 20, right, kilometer per hour, and if I am seeing the object at a distance of 4 meter ahead, and if my braking distance, that is the distance for a vehicle to reduce to that speed, that distance is more than that at a particular speed, then I will not be able to reduce that speed, and that may lead to many different incidents, right? So other thing is perception reaction time. So what is perception reaction time? So suppose there is something which is happening on the roads. So what is the time for you to react? So suppose some vehicle is crossing, now you want to slow it, right? So first you perceive and then accordingly you react, right? So there is a PIEV theory is also there. I think it is beautifully mentioned in the slide, so maybe you can go through it. So it is basically your So basically it is your the perception time, right, and the reaction time. So if your perception reaction time is less, then it is what? So like if you immediately can react, then it will be good, and if it is more, then sometimes in unfortunate incidents it may be also bad. So another thing is, suppose already you know that there is a signal, already you know that there are accidents that is occurring at a particular area. So then you already know, so you know that already I should be slow my vehicle here. So accordingly you can slow it there, because your perception reaction time will be lesser. So suppose something just abruptly happening along the road, right? So you do not have an idea that what is happening, so it will take more time for you to react. So your perception reaction time will be higher in that case. So Deepak has raised his hand. So do you have something to say? Okay, let me go ahead. So then once it is done, the next one is that's what I am saying, that acute, fairly clear and peripheral visions, right? That's what we are discussing. So then so your perception reaction time also varies depending on your road. So in case of urban road, there is always congestion and those things are always present. So basically, so ideally I should be, my perception reaction time will be shorter, right? I will be immediately able to react. And in case of along any highway, it is expected that it's a uninterrupted flow, right? Also I should mention, it is not an urban expressway, maybe general urban roads where basically frequently we are seeing the interruption. So there my perception reaction time will be faster, and in case of highway it will take some more time for me to react, because I am not expecting it that some vehicle will slow down, right? So that's what it is. So then there is a introduced the concept of design vehicles. So I want to know that why there is a need, because okay, there are many kinds of vehicles which are basically plying on the road. So why should I need this design vehicle? In case of a traffic engineer, why it is important to know what is a design vehicle? So basically it is a representative vehicle, because we have so many vehicles with so many physical characteristics, such as lengths are different, widths are different. Suppose if you imagine a truck and a bicycle, so there is a huge difference. Operating capability, suppose your power to weight ratio of a cycle and of a suppose not cycle, maybe motorbike, and if you compare with a bus or maybe heavy vehicles, any heavy vehicles, it is very different, right? So now we need to decide what is the width of the road, what should be the side distance, right? So those things has to be decided. So how do you decide it? There are so many things. So we need a design vehicles which is idealizing that okay, my perception reaction time is this, and my other things are assumed to be this, right? Based on this I will design what is the geometric and other features of a road. So that's why we need the design vehicle. So then the functional classification of roads. So basically functional classification of roads is based on your mobility and accessibility, right? So in case of urban roads, in case of rural roads, there is a separate classification, and it is already mentioned in the IRC. Also, if you know, there are latest Indo-ASEAN guidelines are there. There also you will find some kind of classifications, right? So typically urban road means maybe urban expressways, then maybe arterial streets with a lower mobility, right? And then your subarterial, then maybe your local and collector streets, right? So then in case of this rural road, you have a national highway, state highway, right? Then your major district road, MDR, right? It is connecting those roads, and then your other district roads, and finally your village roads. So this kind of classification, and it is purely based on what is the mobility and what is the accessibility, which concept we have already covered in the previous whenever we are discussing that mobility and accessibility. So like urban expressway, the mobility is highest, right? Again, what about accessibility? Accessibility is lowest. If you compare that urban expressway and local street having the accessibility is very highest, but mobility is lowest, right? In case of rural roads, your national highway is supposed to run on high speeds, that is your mobility is very higher. And what about your village road? Village road is less, more accessible, but your speeds will be generally 20-30 kilometers per hour depending on the type of where the road is connecting, right? Like our Prime Minister Gramin Sadak Yojana, that is that those roads are basically typically comes under village roads, right? So then okay, so this is what I am saying, urban and rural roads classification. So then comes these things which is like what are the road markings. So why you need to you need markings on the road. So suppose you have a two-way traffic, this is your road and this is your center line. So it is segregating this way movement direction to this. Suppose this is going to north and this is going to south, right? So it is segregating. So that's why you need a proper indicator that how it is segregating, right? So this is one of the example of a center line road markings, right? So there are many kinds of road markings. Suppose you have a stop controlled intersection. So where to stop? Suppose you have an intersection here. Now where to stop? So there should be a stop line that from the first vehicle they will be stopped before that. or maybe just touching that, not exceeding that, right? It is not allowable. You should not exceed this. So to designate or to see that, so for this purpose we are using these road markings, right? Different road markings, stop markings, center line markings. So there are also road markings that is important. Suppose there are this kind of marking and another road you are seeing a continuous marking. So generally this indicates that in case of some scenario when you want to overtake, you can go here and you can overtake, which actually we are frequently seeing in our normal roads, right? Yes, Deepak. So then, yes, Deepak. Language problem means, okay, you can whatever you are not able to understand, you can say that I am not able to understand those things. So maybe you can repeat. Maybe I shall repeat them, right? Maybe in Hindi or English, whatever you feel. So you tell me that what you did not understand. So let me continue. Maybe you can see, you can say that whatever you are having a problem, you can say that okay, these things I am not able to understand, right? Immediately you can ask me. Okay. That's good enough. So then, in case of continuous road marking, so in no way you like this direction traffic can go to this direction traffic, right? In no way it is permissible. So these are different uses of continuous lane markings and this kind of lane markings, as well as stop marking and the center line markings, right? So then comes the traffic sign. So as I already told you that we need traffic sign to control any junctions which is maybe due to high volume of traffic, due to high occurrence of head-on collisions, maybe, right? Accidents are occurring there. So we need to install traffic signs. So now it could be a pedestrian traffic sign as well, right? Because pedestrian has you have to, sometimes you have to install pedestrian signs in order to for them to cross the road, right? Maybe using cross street. So then these are basically regulatory signs, warning signs. Sir, please introduction and tell about NPTEL advantages and why it is necessary for BTech. So first is that this is a PG level course. I should mention, because it is, I hope it is mentioned in the NPTEL website as well. So this is a PG level course, right? It is not a BTech level course, but some of the topics actually it is from the BTech, right? Means BTech civil engineering background, obviously. And the advantage is that first is you are getting some high quality materials from a IIT professor, which I think will help you to grasp those concepts very well, right? And then nowadays what is happening, what we are doing, we are just taking these live interactive sessions where basically you have a chance to ask that okay, so these are the things, maybe I need some more clarifications, or maybe what we are seeing that typically students may not be able to perform well in the NPTEL exams. So that's what we are designing the questions also, right? After I finish this, I will going to the maybe simple questions, but maybe you need some clarifications, right? There. So we are available every week for that purpose only, right? We will help you as much as we could. Huh? Also, I think a professor also having someone in a month or maybe twice in a entire course. He has also some kind of live interactive session, so you can directly also ask him. You have that opportunity. Plus, you are getting, I think, you will be able to solve those assignments, which will also strengthen your concept. So overall, I think you will have a good experience if you take this NPTEL. I hope that answers your questions. So then I go back to my discussion, what I was doing. Right. And also that's what I said, that it is an interactive session, so try to engage with you, among you people also. You can say that okay, this is not good, this is not these things, and maybe you can interact with me also. So it is encouraged that you do that. It will enhance your learning as well as my learning process, right? So then what is road delineator? So basically it is to delineate the road. So if you go to the night time, at night, if you see, you may not be able to see the edges. So that's why this road delineator concept comes into picture, right? So then, as I already mentioned, the traffic signs. So there are two types of traffic signs, generally pedestrian as well as the vehicular. So vehicular traffic time could be of many types. Vehicular signals are of many types. So what are the types? The types are it may be a semi-automated, it may be automated signal, and what we are actually seeing on most of the Indian roads are the fixed type traffic signals, right? So this sums up, I think, the whole syllabus that is covered in week 1 of basic traffic engineering, these elements uh, and components, right? So next we will just discuss these questions. Some maintenance questions are there. We will try to discuss. So in the meantime, uh, okay, Turkish. So in the meantime, if you have some query regarding the course content, you can ask, or otherwise we shall proceed to this question and answer session. So basically here I will not be the first to answer. So you will be the first to answer. Then after I saw that okay, you have all answered, maybe I shall say okay, this is the answer, the reason is this. So that's how this session will go, right? So shall we proceed to this question and answer session? Everything will be there. Whatever I am discussing, it will be very helpful for you, even for your NPTEL exams. You see these kind of questions also you will get in your assignment as well. Also these kinds of things will help you to solve those uh, concept as well as the problems, because if you see on the later half of this NPTEL course there are many problems, and sometimes it is very difficult also to understand. So maybe we will try to solve it in a nice manner. We will try to discuss it and try to solve it. Can you just mute yourself? If you have something you can say, otherwise you can mute yourself. Durgesh? Yes, Bindal. Tell me. Yes, good evening. बोलो. Hmm. Actually, your voice is not coming clearly. Although I got some part of it, but I am not getting the whole question. Suppose you are saying something about overtaking side distance. First is I don't think it is covered here, and maybe it is more applicable to geometric design course. So, but still, if you want to say, you can ask. Hmm. Hmm. So suppose generally it depends on, suppose I am saying stopping side distance, right? The same thing will be applicable to the overtaking side distance as well. So in case of stopping side distance क्या होता है, we have this expression of Vt plus V square by something, right? So basically it's a function of speed and your perception reaction time, right? So suppose if your design speed is 60 and your actual speed, actually whatever speed are you are traveling is 80, so then what happens, you will not be able to stop your vehicle before something occurs. So suppose you see that there is a vehicle is coming and you are also coming, and you know that you are coming, uh, like you will be collided, head on collided. So suppose your this distance is there. Now if your vehicle doesn't stop in the intermediate point, because if your speed is more, it will not stop, it will take more time, right? It will take more distance to cover before it getting stopped. So then your accident will occur. So that's why we need to design the speed based on whatever we want to provide those stopping side distance, and same thing is applicable for overtaking side distance as well, right? So it will all affect the speed. Maybe you can just little bit try to see if any course on geometric design, I think it is available in NPTEL as well, so maybe you will get better understanding. But basically you have to stop before something. Suppose you have a road sign and you want to drop your speed to 20 there because there is a school zone, right? But if your design speed is more than 40 and your design speed is actually is 40, suppose your speed limit is 40 along that particular stretch, now you want to reduce it down to 20, but actually you are traveling at 60, so you may not be able to do it. So basically these things are interlinked. That's why we need to carefully choose what is the geometric parameters that we are providing and what is the design speed, is it sufficient or not. So if your speed is higher, so your accordingly your stopping distance should be higher, otherwise you may collide, or you may not be able to stop, because sometimes you have to stop because there is a school zone, so you need to slow down, right? So those are the implications. So that's why you need to design it properly. So here designing means what? Designing means to see that if maximum speed is this, or generally we use it for a design speed. If your design speed is this, so now the problem is, okay, someone again started sharing. Who is started sharing? Can you just stop sharing? Can you just stop sharing? Can you just stop? Hello? Can you just stop sharing? So that's what I am saying, right? So you need to design it accordingly, otherwise your geometric feature will not be sufficient. So whatever you are saying, it is not achievable. So now what I was discussing, what is a design speed? So generally in a traffic stream there are multiple speeds, right? So you may traveling at a speed of 40, maybe I am traveling at a speed of 30 or 50, right? So there is a kind of concept of 85th percentile speed, which we call as a design speed. So based on the design speed, you try to give that minimum this distance should be available for overtaking as well as for stopping. So if your vehicle is less than that speed, always it will be able to stop or it will overtake. Otherwise sometimes what happen in case of overtaking, that vehicle will come and you may collide. So your overtaking maneuver is getting hampered. So I hope this clears your doubt. Hmm. Hmm. So okay, so now the question and answer session is this. So the first question is knowledge of visual acuity and field of vision. Both I have discussed sometimes back, right? So are essential for a traffic engineer dealing with design. There is a called is design and placement of not road. It is not properly given. It should be, wait. One second. So your road signs. So this should be mentioned. I did this mistake. So it should be road signs. Okay. So is it true or false? So design as well as placement, right? Where you want to place it and how do you want to design it. So why design is important? Tell me. And what do you mean by design of road sign? Yes, session 6 to 8 है. Is there any problem? It is only 7 I think. Yes, it is 6 to 8, 2 hours. Okay, so why it is design as well as placement? What do you mean by road sign design? I think some preliminary understanding was given, I think, based on this road sign. So basically, typically this is designing means what is the color and the background, what is the size. So how does size affect your, means how it is related to visual acuity? So actually, I told you that you will be able to see an object, but that object has a particular dimension. Because if your dimension varies, then the same people which is seeing that particular object from a distance of 6 meter, if I reduce my dimension, he may not be able to see. So I forgot the exact dimension, but I think 8.5 millimeter or something dimension was there. So that in that purpose, design is also important, and also the color, because if you remember I told that fairly clear vision. In case of fairly clear vision, uh, what will happen, that maybe I am not directly reading what is written, but I know what is the color. And if you see, the color has one second, let me finish, then maybe I will come to your query. So then what happens, that if you want to place no, so I was saying that if you are not able to read what is written, but if you know what is the color background or color contrast, then what actually will happen is that in case of fairly conic vision, which is coming under your field of vision, you may be able to see it, that okay, this is a background. Suppose background is maybe green, right? And green actually signifies something. Actually, generally if you see the traffic sign, the green signifies that it is actually informatory kind of sign. You may not know, but actually it is informatory kind of sign. If the background is on a national highway, its background is green. So these kinds of inference are there, and actually drivers should know that how this system works, right? Because it is all about standardize the systems. So now tell me, is it true or false? Okay, so before that, okay, there are some queries that 6 to 8 p.m. is too long, but let me say that it may be too long for you, but it is mandatory for us to do this session 2 hours, not 1 hour. So I cannot just leave. I cannot say that okay, this is done, because this will be monitored by again NPTEL. So I cannot do it. So it will be 2 hours long for every week. But what I am suggesting, that maybe you can come up with your doubts. That will be highly beneficial for you, and also I will be also uh, try to answer it, or maybe if I am not, maybe I will see how to answer it in the next class. So I will encourage you to do that, right? So now you just typically on the chat box you say, I already told you everything, that what is the answer, true or false, tell me. So is it essential for a traffic engineer or not? And Durgesh, please just mute yourself. True. Two people are saying true. I want all of you to participate, because it is not about listening. You can say whatever you need. If you are wrong, then I will be here to discuss that why you are saying is wrong or right. Right. Already I multiple times I said this, so I think you will be able to answer. So tell me. I am expecting some more participation from you guys, because it is for you only. It is not that I am saying, okay, I am getting, so I think everyone will try to answer. Just answer what you feel. Is it knowledge is necessary or not? As I was discussing, what I was discussing, how it will affect, what is design, how you place, what does it mean to design it, what does it mean to place it, right? So tell me. Okay, Pooja, whatever your query is, tell me. And in the meantime, maybe other people you can answer. Okay, so you should try to involve in this. So it is actually true. Now everyone is saying true. It is good. Everyone is saying that it is true. Okay. So now move to the next one, right? So this is a numerical one. This is based on the visual acuity of drivers. So sign is placed at a distance of 8 meter, right? Warning the drivers to slow down to a particular speed before entering the curb section of a road, right? So determine by how much should the sign be moved in meter, so that the sign can work for the 6 by 9 drivers. So I already told that 6 by 9 drivers, the vision is poor, because standard person is able to see that same object from 9 meter distance, whereas I am able to see that same object from 6 meter distance. So my vision is poor than 6 by 6 vision, right? So a sign is placed at a distance of 8 meter. So basically 6 by 6 vision driver is able to see at a distance of 8 meter, right? And it is written that you need to slow down your vehicle, right? Before entering this section of the road. Suppose you are navigating from a suppose you are here and your road sign is here, right? And you are here. Please mute yourself, Durgesh. Please, can you mute yourself? Okay, so as I was discussing, so this is the straight section of a road, suppose, and this is a curb section of a road. So now this is the sign post. So it is saying the driver that you should reduce to a particular speed. Suppose maybe he is coming at 40, maybe you should, this spot 15 you have to navigate this curb section of the road, or maybe any bridge or whatever, right? So now I am able to see this object from a distance of 8 meter. This is clear. 8 meter I am able to see, right? Now I am saying for a poor vision driver, what should be, like how much sign should be moved so that I am seeing the same distance. Suppose I am seeing from this distance. So a pure vision driver who is here, he will not be see at that distance. He should move forward and see. So what is this move forward? How much the sign should be moved backwards, that means, right? So I don't know I am able to explain it or not, but if you are not able to understand, please tell me that I am not able to understand, or just try to read first the question, read that what it is saying. So you know that sign should be moved from here to here, at least you know that, because my vision is poor, I need to go some distance beyond that particular distance to see that particular thing, and then my stopping distance or my reduced speed distance will be higher. So then I will cross the road, then I will able to make that 15 km adjustment. So which we don't want. So we want to move forward this post itself. So how much should we move forward this post? How much? What is in meter? So tell me. How much? So if you see, I think it is here only. I thought that you will do it before I say. So this is the answer. If the 6x6 vision driver can see the sign from 8 meter distance, then the same distance can be seen, same not distance, same post, same sign, it will be the same sign can be seen from a distance of 5.33 meter in case of the driver, in case of 6x9. So already told that it will be less. So how much less? It will be 6/9 into 8 only. Oh, my voice is not clear. Okay, so what should I do? Like, not everyone is, you are not able to hear. Is it also now also it is not clear, or is it clear? Can someone just reply in the chat box? Okay. So maybe you can adjust, Durgesh or Deepak. So then, if my vision is poor, obviously I will be seeing that same object from a lesser distance, because my vision is poor, my distance vision is poor. So it will be how much? It will be 8 into 6/9, that is 5.33 meter, right? It is very logical, it is 5.33 meter. So now how much the sign should be moved forward? Because if it is moved forward, then I will be able to see and I will be able to adjust accordingly, right? So then 8 minus simply 5.33, that is 2.67. If you just move forward it, then because it is moved forward, now I am able to see that particular sign from that same distance, and now I have 2.67 distance beyond that post to reduce my speed to that post before starting of the curve section. So then accordingly I can make adjustments, right? So now tell me that do you did you understand or not? Because you have to understand, otherwise there is no point. If you have query, you tell me that no. You raise hand. Okay, just maybe I need to turn on their microphone. Maybe now you can be able to switch on if you want to microphone, or maybe you can also write in chat box, whatever you feel you can do it. Tell me. I want a yes from everyone, that okay, everyone, we understood what you are saying. Maybe you read, I have already, it is visible. So what is 6/9, what is 6/6? 6/9 is poor, so then it should be less than 6 meter at least. If it is less than 6 meter, so it will be obviously 6/9 into 8, that is 5.33 meter, right? Less distance. So whatever the 8 minus 5.33, that I have to adjust the traffic sign from move forward, not backward but forward in the front direction, away from the curved section of the road. So tell me that you have able to understand or not. I want a yes from everyone. Because this kind of questions will come in your assignments. I think it will be there in your assignments, similar type of question, as well as in NPTEL exams, right? So if you are not able to understand, the values could be changed and you may not be able to answer them. So tell me that okay, I just able to understand or not able to understand, or at least you say that yes, I am able to understand. Nothing? At least I expect no. If not yes, that is also acceptable if it is no. So shall I assume that everyone you understood, or okay, you are not responding, no one is responding. So like should I wait or should I move forward to the next one? Okay, let me move then. So the third one is reaction time of drivers will be lesser in surprise situations compared to the alerted ones. So already I mentioned that how your perception reaction time, that is the time you see an incident is occurring, then you want to react, you want to slow down, you want to stop your vehicles, right? Maybe it is a signal, right? So what is the reaction time of the drivers when you are a surprise, like you are not expecting that this should happen but this happened? So in that case, what will be your reaction time compared to the ones, suppose you know that okay, this is happening, I need to stop. So what is larger and what is smaller? Tell me. I already did discuss this today itself, that how you can think of this. I just gave you an example of suppose in signalized situation in urban roads and versus maybe the rural highways, the national highways, right? So tell me what is the answer. So reaction time of the drivers will be lesser or it is higher. What is the answer in surprise situation? So if you are surprising, so is it going to be lower or is it going to be higher? Just tell me. So tell me. No, no, you are not participating. You should participate. It is not about saying the answers. It is about making you understand. Then you won't forget. A similar type of questions could be there in your exams. Just respond. Is it true? Is it false? Something. Please respond. Whatever you feel, you respond. Whatever you feel, you may respond. True, you are saying. Okay, Rahul Yadav is saying true. So you are saying that reaction time of drivers will be lesser in the surprise situations compared to alerted situations. And Rohit says false, Riya says false. So okay, since I got the participations from all of you, so some people are saying true as well. So see, suppose you are traveling with your car along a highway, that is a national highway, any national highway, right? So you want to speed up your vehicles, right? You do not want to stop. So now you do not want that your speed will get hampered, right? So you are not expecting. So suppose something happened, surprisingly something happened, some accident happened, you are not expecting it.
So it will take more time for you to react because you are not expecting that, but you have to react because something happened. So your brain will perceive it, then it will decide that how to do it. So it will take some time, right? So it will be more. Suppose you know that I need to stop at a signal, at a signalized intersection. So you already know I need to stop. So you will be ready. Your perception reaction time is expected. So it will be lesser. So are you getting the point? Whoever is saying true, whoever is saying. So are you getting that why it is not true? It should be false. Why? I want answers from the people who are saying true. Are you getting the point or no? Okay, you are getting the point, right? That unexpected situation, yes. Okay, that's good enough. So it is what? It is false. So now the fourth one is, which of the following statements are false? Which of these statements are false? So convenience relates to ease of making trips. Economy only relates to fare of the trips in overall context. So providing safety and efficiency become a complex job in a multimodal system, obviously for a traffic engineer. We are dealing with traffic engineering and traffic engineers. And transportation demand is a derived demand. Okay, Praveen, is it so that my voice is breaking? Is it solved or is it still my voice is breaking? It is solved. What is yes? You are able to clear. Okay, solved. Okay. Sometime maybe due to the internet problem it is happening. So then tell me which of these statements are false. 4 option is false. You are saying transportation demand is a derived demand. It is false. Okay, I got one answer. I want some more answers. Maybe you read first carefully the sentences, then maybe you can say whatever your option is. Okay, I have not mentioned ABCD, but you can assume that ABCD, or maybe 1 2 3 4, whatever it is. So is it that convenience relates to ease of making trips? What is convenience? Actually it is, right? Convenience. It is not comfort. Comfort means you are comfortable in sitting, comfortably standing inside a vehicle, or comfortably riding with your own vehicle, right? So convenience relates to ease of making trips. You are saying B, C are false. Okay, I am just noting it down. So someone said B is false. Okay, so then I got last one, that transportation demand is a derived demand. It is a false statement. So do you know what is a derived demand? What is a direct demand? What is a derived demand? So suppose I want to go to work, or I want to go for a vacation. For that I need to travel from my home to work or my home to tourist destination, right? So I am not going for the purpose of traveling. That is not my purpose. My purpose is not moving from place A to place B. My purpose is to go to work. That's why I want to move. So it is not a direct demand that I am doing that. I am doing work. That's why I need to travel from place A to place B. I want a vacation. That's why I want to go to a tourist destination. That's why I am traveling from place A to place B. Right? So it is called a derived demand. That's why transportation demand is called a derived demand. It is indeed a derived demand. Right? This is called the derived. Right? So it is not false, it is true. So now another is that someone said the C is also false. So providing safety and efficiency became a complex job in a multimodal system for a traffic engineer. So just imagine in especially in western world like America and all. So there are motorways, so vehicle, there are motorways where only car is going, everything is car, no mode is there, only car is there, and there is a separate roadway is available which is called dedicated bus lanes are there for the plying of buses, right? So just compare that scenario with the Indian scenario where all types of vehicles, all types of modes, all types of things are running. So even pedestrians are also crossing without any signals and all. It's a chaotic situation. Your two-wheeler, four-wheeler, your six-wheeler, even sometimes, even if you see the rural roads, there also two-wheelers are permissible. They are already plying in the roads. Sometimes they are not allowed, but sometimes they are allowed. So this kind of multimodal system, it is kind of representing the, and another thing about the multimodal system is that suppose you initially you have car, you want to travel with a personal vehicle. Now suppose you want to travel by a bus, right? We want to promote public transport because of obvious reasons. So now from home to the bus stop or the metro stop, if you are traveling by metro, you have to travel. Suppose it is not a walking distance, maybe you can walk, but it is, if it is not a walking distance, maybe we can use, sometimes you can use some e-rickshaws that is available, right? Currently e-rickshaws are very famous, maybe auto rickshaws also are available. So see, traffic engineer has to manage those things as well. So how you reach to the bus stop, and then how you reach from the bus stop to your work location, and from the home to your bus stops. So it's a multimodal transport, not one mode. There are two modes or multiple modes, and also it is running, there are many modes are running as well. So now it is becoming a complex job for a traffic engineer, because managing a particular class of vehicles where every vehicle is their length and width and your acceleration capabilities are almost equal. Here everything is different, and also you have this small modes which are which are connecting from your home to these destinations, and then your main, the larger public transport and those modes. So it is become actually a complex job. It is not false, it is true. It is day by day, it is the complex nature is arising in case of traffic engineering. So now the remaining option is economy relates to the fare of trips in overall context. Actually there is a part of the economy which is the fare, that is we are paying. But actually if you see the larger context, actually buses has been purchased using the money of the taxpayers, right? It is the public money that has been utilized for purchasing and maintenance operations as well sometimes, because sometimes fare is not adequate, so even government is giving subsidy to the public transport system sometimes. So economy doesn't mean always only the fare of trips. It's a what is your overall returns against what is the investment that you made, right? So finally your this answer is false, right? So I hope it is clear to everyone. Let me go to the next one. So the main goal of traffic engineering is the safe and efficient movement of vehicles from one place to another. True or false? Tell me, what is the main goal? Obviously safety and efficiency are the two objectives. Safety is the primary and the secondary objectives are the efficiency, right, of a any transportation systems, and traffic engineer also focus on that, right? So then is it that the main goal is to movement of vehicles from one place to another? What is your point of view? Is it true or is it false? Okay, I want some more answers. Maybe then Rahul also you tell me that why it is not. What is your take? Why it is not? Tell me. Hmm. Then is it vehicle doesn't mean people and as well as goods? Uh, just uh, just tell me with more clarity that why we are saying that no vehicle is not that only the people and the goods. Why it is so? Just give me an example that maybe this is okay. No, but my question is it the movement of that I already told that the primary task is safety, the second component is the efficiency. Now I am asking you that why it is not movement of vehicles, why it is movement of people and goods. Because see, vehicles maybe suppose car or bus maybe travel maybe drive by drivers maybe car driver or bus driver, but there are no people, he is roaming around. It is also movement of from place A to B. Does it mean anything? Does it doing anything? Does it serving the purpose, efficient safe movement? Does it have some logical? No. So that's what the purpose is, not to move the vehicles, is to move the people from one place to another using those vehicles, and as well as the goods, because goods also should be carried, because your economy and also our basic necessities in day to day life, it is depending on the goods movement, right? So that's why it is not the vehicles but the goods. So that's why it is false. That is the reason. So now the next one is relation between your land use and transportation is cyclic in nature. So already I think whoever joined around that the initial time, I already mentioned that what is the how your land use actually affecting your transportation systems, or how it is how they are correlated, how this cyclic nature is it present or is it absence. So now tell me, I think it is also straightforward, maybe you can try to tell me, is it cyclic or is it not cyclic, or what does it mean by cyclic? What do you mean by cyclic in nature? True. Can you elaborate something? Maybe Abhishek. I am asking Abhishek to tell me how it is cyclic. So then you have to build more roads. You have to, yes, you have to increase your supply. So nicely explained by Abhishek. So maybe we should go. So then it is true, right? So it is, I think it is clear to everyone, it is true. So now we shall go to the next one. So which of the following statements are true? Tell me. Green road marking are used to provide priority to cyclists and pedestrians. Then warning road signs are provided at approaches to intersections. And usually continuous are provided in case of warning situation. So what is continuous road marking I was discussing. So if it is continuous, you should not overtake. It is not a warning thing. It is an overtaking decision, right? So basically it is a false statement, because it is not about warning, it is not giving you warning. So if you remember, based on the slide, there are three scenarios: normal scenario as usual, then the warning scenario where you are getting warned that you should not do it. So in that case, your spacing between your these lines are basically dropping. Your spacing are dropping, and this thickness of the road signs are also increasing, right? So then warning signs are provided at approaches to intersection. It is true, actually it is provided. Then green road markings are used to provide priority to cyclists. It is kind of true, but this may be sometimes because it will depend on means different manuals are having different logic. So exactly I don't remember that from where this has been taken. Is it taken from IRC or is it taken from something else? Maybe I need to recheck. But this is false. This is true. This is sometimes true, but based on the guidelines, it may differ. So I shall be moving towards the next one. So which of the following statement is false with respect to mobility and accessibility? So already I discussed this mobility and accessibility, that different modes and different roads, how it is varies, how it is more than how mobility is greater for a particular mode and how it is lower for some other mode. So based on that, I think I will not be answering this, you will be answering this. So which is false? Tell me which is false. Tell me which is false. This I will not be answering. Which of the following is false? Tell me. You have to tell. You just see how your mobility, just compare how your mobility of a car and mobility of a bus, which is more, which is less, then what about the accessibility, right? Then what is the arterial road and expressway, where speed is higher, where accessibility is lower, right? Then what is accessibility itself? What do you mean by accessibility? What do you mean by access to a particular land or maybe something else also? So what is the mobility? Mobility means what? How can you travel faster? So tell me what is the false statements here? What is the false statement? B. Okay, I got one answer from Abhishek. B. I need some more participation. So Abhishek is saying B. What about others? So your mobility and accessibility of a car. So car, it can travel faster than a bus. So obviously mobility is higher. What about the accessibility? Obviously you have greater access to a car, right? It is with you. Mostly we are talking about personal cars, but even I think cabs are as well. Their accessibility is also higher, right? So both accessibility and mobility of a car is more than a bus. It is a correct statement. So then your mobility of an arterial road is more than expressway. So if you remember the functional classification of urban roads, so you have first you have expressway, then your arterial comes, right? So mobility is higher on expressways, and your then your mobility of an arterial road is more. It is not a correct statement, it is a false statement, right? What about the third one? So your accessibility depends on proximity of land to major highways. Obviously, this is what is called the accessibility. So how your your highway is getting connected to the lands, right? So it is what is the proximity. So this is why how you say the accessibility or measure accessibility. So then what is your mobility? Mobility obviously depends on effectiveness of the through facilities. So if you want to travel from place A to B, So if your through road movement is not good, then you may not be able to travel faster. So it is the effectiveness of the generally effectiveness of the through facilities. So now the last one is match the correct options. So match this x and y. So these are the efficiency, the other objectives. These are the other objectives. Primary objective was safety, and these are the other objectives, these four. So now tell me that how this link to this, how environment, what is the correct option among this A, B, C, D, how economy relates to this, how convenience relates to this, how safety is relating to this. So already one option you can already got, that 4 will be directly connected to A, because I already told that safety is the primary objective of a traffic engineer, right? So it is a 4 is obviously A. What about the remaining? Everything I think has been discussed. So I got one answer, one is C. Environment means aesthetically pleasing facilities. Okay. So you are providing such facilities which are basically in sync with the environment, which is not deteriorating the environment. So nowadays, if you see, if we build any national highway, there is a provision that along the median maybe you should plant some trees as well, right? So there are many IRC provisions which nowadays are being revised to sync with the environment, so that it has several purposes. So environment is, one is C. Okay, then what is your 2 is D? You are saying 2 is D. So economy, already I told, economy is not about the fare, it is overall as a overall from a engineer or traffic engineer perspective, it is like total what is the return, what is the return. It may not be always that it is in directly monetary terms, right? So it also depends on, so if I am providing some comfortable service, which is a qualitative attribute, it is a quality, but this can be also converted to a quantitative sum of money, and then maybe you can do the economic analysis. It is not a financial part as a whole. So generally what we do in a financial analysis, what is the cost and what is your benefit, that's all. So here cost benefits also includes what is the other kind of socio-economical impact it is brings, right? So based on that also we are getting the benefit, right? So if something is solving the problem of congestion, and we know that congestion directly impacts our economy, so then in that case it is directly basically solving our problem. So we want to we want to quantify it, and it will be falling under the benefit, right? So then 2 is this D. So what is here, and the remaining is 4. 4 is already said. 3 is what? 3 is B. Convenience means I tell that how easily you are able to making the trip. So are you just waiting at a particular bus stop for a bus for the long time, or do you want to transfer more than once? So this is actually ease of making trips, how easily you are making the trips, how easily you are getting the bus and then also making the trips, right? So those are the things falls under this convenience. So I think that's all from my side. So if someone is having any queries related to this, they can ask. I am waiting, and then we shall close the session, right? And also whoever complains regarding the assignment, just just you send a message in the discussion forum with your details. We will see what can be done. Why are you facing those problems? So tell me what you want to know more regarding this, and I hope you will be better solve the not only the assignment problems but maybe in your final NPTEL exams as well. So any queries, any further queries are welcome. Any queries, clarifications, doubts? At least you can say no, we are satisfied, it's done, so that I know that you are already means you understood everything, so that we can close the session. No, no one is willing to respond. No, what do you mean by no? You are not satisfied. Rahul, tell me. Rahul? Okay, Abhishek. Okay, Rahul, tell me. Okay, thank you. So I think we can close the session. We will meet on the same time on the next week, right? 6 o'clock, I think on 10th or what? Today is 3. Next week, Friday, next Friday. So, okay, then thank you everyone for joining and listening. Bye.